Hi, Dave Smith here for Police One, and this is Roll Call Reality Training. Well, today we're going to go all over the country for a montage of interesting dash cam videos that'll keep you alert and I hope keep you safer out there on the roadway. One of the most dangerous activities law enforcement officers do is drive. We put a lot of miles down driving all over in all kinds of conditions. We don't get to go and park in the garage when the weather's bad. Sometimes we drive fast in bad conditions. And one of the things we have to face is citizens who simply don't know how to react to us when we put on our lights and sirens. There's a whole lot of risks out there, and regardless of your assignment, one of the problems we face as officer safety trainers is all of you love to drive fast. You have a very high risk thermostat setting. You like it hot. You like it when you're driving fast. And one of the things I hope we do today is refresh you in the risks you were taught in the academy and in your in-service programs about driver safety. Again, this is one of the top killers of law enforcement. Now, before I get into all these other tips, there's one thing I'm going to hammer home here. There's nothing else you do day to day in your activity to enhance your odds of surviving until tomorrow than putting your seatbelt on. That's one of the most neglected things in law enforcement. I have so many friends, I get in their car and they don't put their seatbelt on. And I know they drive around, they enforce seatbelt laws. At the same time, when they're off duty and they get in that vehicle, they don't have the habit of putting a seatbelt on. Putting a seatbelt on should be a habit you always do, and you make the people you care about wear as well. So that down, okay, we're going to have our seatbelts on. Now let's go out on the street. You know, you're going to get that hot call. You put on that light and siren. And I tell you what, there's a code 3 syndrome. Man, our right foot gets really heavy when we put on those lights and sirens. And sometimes part of our brain kind of shuts down. Don't ever let that happen. When you turn on lights and sirens, a lot of things can happen. First principles you've always been told, for instance, always pass on the left, right? What's a good idea? Watch this video. Whoa! All right, always pass on the left. Don't pass on the right. You can even confuse other law enforcement officers. Now, one of the things when we put on that lights and sirens, we've got to be ready. The citizens, you know, we always talk about driving stupid, right? And this is one of the problems. If we acknowledge that, if we know people are going to get stupid, then we need to be prepared for it. You have to be prepared for it. Watch this. Ouch, huh? You can almost feel that pain there. Now, this is one of the things is that we are going to have to be accountable for ourselves and for others. When you put on a light and siren, that doesn't mean the world's going to open up for you. In fact, it's going to mean a lot of things. That you're going to confuse people. You're not going to be able to hear other sirens going, and that's a critical issue here. There have been some real tragedies in law enforcement where two vehicles have met at an intersection. Neither one could hear the other. And they're each expecting everyone to yield to them. So this is why we've got to pay attention to what's going on. The faster we go, the further we're looking ahead. Now let's go to another one. Let's see, as we're driving, we're going lights and siren. We got to be alert and ready. Watch this.
Out on the bridge, there's a vehicle there. Stand by. Okay, just keep them in on the 10.
Whoa, didn't see that coming, did you? And this is the kind of things, neither did the driver of that vehicle. So we've got to be, the faster I go, the further ahead I have to look. Curves, hills, all these things. I've got to be alert for unexpected things to occur. Now, one of the things I want you to think about, when you're operating that vehicle, you're liable. And again, we get in the habit of driving fast. I know that. And I don't pretend for a minute that I'm going to slow you down today. What I want you to do is get reasonable. Watch this terribly tragic and famous video of an officer killing 2 civilians. All right, you're criminally and civilly liable in those situations. Brutal, right? Now, one of the things I want you to think about this. You're going to go out there today, operate a vehicle. Your friends are going to operate vehicles. The problem with bad habits you develop, they can be invisible to you. Get with your squad mates. Sit down with your entire team and talk about, look, if you see me with a bad habit, would you give each other permission to comment to each other, especially bad habits like not wearing seatbelts, bad habits like driving recklessly. These are all things we want to talk about. If we see each other making a mistake, correct it. That's one of the ways we prevent bad habits, by immediately commenting on them, and that feedback helps us stop the development of a bad habit. And again, when you look at bad habits on videos, it's often of an officer fatality. So let's get rid of our bad habits or prevent them from starting to begin with by giving each other permission to comment when we see a bad habit. And driving recklessly is a bad habit. After all, the world presents us all kinds of threats out there, everything from bad weather to crazy drivers to, well, something like this. Wow, all right, that's exciting. Great job, great profession. We love law enforcement, but one of the dangers we face is we're going to operate vehicles in a crazy environments when everybody else is parked. We're going to operate vehicles when people are drunk. We're out looking for them, and we're going to operate sometimes in incredibly dense urban centers. These are all things that you have to do, and you have to do it safely. So I want you to think about the things that have been presented today. Refresh your risk thermostat. Just remember, driving is dangerous.